Okay, so hello. Okay, so hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the EduphoreIAS, the live Hindu analysis class. Today the date is 18th of, not 18th, it was 18th of, it is 19th of October and we are starting with the today's Hindu, fine. But before that, as usually what we do, first of all, we'll be discussing the yesterday's question and then we'll be switching to the today's analysis, fine. Here we have the first question and that is, pooled procurement by the central government when it comes to drug procurement can revolutionize the healthcare. Yeah, you had to discuss this question in 150 words for a 10-marker question. Second question was, which among the following schedule confers the highest protection to the Wildlife Protection Act amended Act 2022? So of course, the highest protection is provided by the Schedule 1 or even the sites की बात करें तो Appendix 1. Fine. So this is the case. As far as the first question is concerned, we discussed yesterday an article on the editorial page only, that is centralized procurement as a powerful health idea. Fine. So there we discussed the case of an analogy of McDonald's, Vada Pav, and how the things could be improved. Alongside that, so again, since the question is of a 10 marker, so following the same this IBC structure, body and conclusion, fine. So what could be the intro for this question? For intro, you can say that somewhat you can say that somewhat since the 10 mark का क्वेश्चन है तो इसलिए आपको एनालॉजी ड्रॉ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. इसमें आप मैकडोनल्ड या बड़ा पाव जो है आप सिर्फ एज एग्जांपल इसको ट्रीट कर सकते हो, बट अदरवाइज बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा. आपका इंट्रोडक्शन जो है उस हमें करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. So what we need to do is, you can say that that for any such kind of procurement or centralized procurement, or let us say where we can also quote the example of McDonald's as well as the Vada Pav, fine, but need not to draw the analogy. Okay, करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. You can say that you can say that when each franchise purchase their let us say own sets of raw materials, or or either they go for, you can say, this centralized procurement, so they always face the two types of questions or the two issues, central problems, and that is, first is related to the price and second is related to the quality, right? So these are the two central problems that any this centralized procurement system faces. Actually, how you can introduce your this question topic. After this, you can also say that this brings up another question, that why should hospitals be any different when it comes to drug procurement? And you rest of the article जो था वो drug procurement बात कर रहे हैं, और ड्रग के केस related to drugs procurement means in the medication. तो जब हम हेडिंग की बात करेंगे फॉर द बॉडी पार्ट्स, ऑफ कोर्स तीन हेडिंग्स आप इसमें से देख सकते हो, बन सकता है आपका. फर्स्ट इज इन इंडिया, सेकंड इज द फोकस इन दिस पेपर्स दे वर मेंशन्ड, नेशनल कैंसर ग्रिड पोल papers, and finally the third major heading of the body part would be the issue of better quality. Fine. So under all these three major headings, under your for the body part of your answer, you need to briefly mention at least minimum points. Fine, at least points. And then finally, in conclusion, you can say that centralized procurement or the pooled procurement is a simple yet powerful idea that has the power and the potential to reduce costs, ensure better deployment of funds in their other areas related to healthcare, and ensure availability of life-saving drugs in this country. Fine. So this is how you can conclude your answer. That's it. As start with today's Hindu. here we have the is 19th of October Hindu, and we are starting with the front of the first page. How we discuss. First page here is of course related to, you can say, Israel Hamas. So Israel and Hamas trade blame over hospital blast. Yes, गाजा में एक हॉस्पिटल पर अटैक हुआ था, 500 प्लस सिविलियन मारे गए हैं. तो उसके बाद ये चार्जेस ट्रेड एक दूसरे के ऊपर लगा रहे हैं कि हाँ इसराइल ने बॉम्बिंग के मारे गए. इसराइल ये कह रहा है कि हम इलाके हैं उनके सकते हो कि ही कुछ रॉकेट्स हैं जो कि मिस फायर करके एरिया में गिर गए, ये हमें देखने को मिला. ठीक है, तो इस चीज़ ने वेस्ट एशिया में स्पेशली कल, जैसे कि अगर आप लोगों को न्यूज़ देखी हो, थोड़ी बहुत आइडिया हो, कल जो प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ यूएस हैं वो इसराइल गए थे, वहाँ पे मिले प्राइम मिनिस्टर नेतान्याहू से. उनकी मीटिंग शेड्यूल भी थी विद द प्रेसिडेंट्स ऑफ और द काउंटर पार्ट्स ऑफ इजिप्ट, जॉर्डन, फाइन. बट इन लोगों ने प्लस पैलेस्टीन में अब्बास एज वेल, बट इन लोगों ने अपनी मीटिंग कैंसिल कर एज अ रिस्पॉन्स टू द और as an outrage to this attack happened in Gaza. Fine, they are blaming that this has been done by Israel only, but you can see Biden arrives in Tel Aviv, backs Israel. So एक चीज और देखने को मिल रही है कि जो OIC ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ इस्लामिक कंट्रीज, ठीक है, इसने भी इस्लामिक नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, सो देख सकते हो कि कहीं ना कहीं इसने भी अब इसराइल के खिलाफ खड़ा हो चुकी कमीशन. प्लस गाजा स्ट्रगल टू सेव सर्वाइवर्स हैज रेज ग्रोन इन वेस्ट एशिया और मिडल ईस्ट. जो भी नेशंस हैं अब अभी तक जैसे इजराइल के साथ थोड़े बहुत खड़े भी थे, बट अब ऐसा हो रहा है कि आफ्टर दिस अटैक दे आर आल्सो ट्रीटिंग इट दैट इज डन बाय द इजराइल. Millions have been killed, around 500 plus, so therefore they are now not backing it, right? So this is how the things are uh, becoming you can say serious now and becoming grave. And this is how, what our prime minister has said, that the civilian casualties in the ongoing conflict are a matter of serious and continuing concern, and those involved should be held responsible. So Biden arrives in Tel Aviv, current capital of Israel, backs Israel's claim that rocket fired by Palestinian militants led to explosion and a strike resumed from both sides thereafter. Fine. Government clears bonanza of 5,000 crore for the staff, central government staffs and all. This is important. Panel hikes MSP for the Rabi crops for the financial year 2024-25. So this is the cabinet committee on economic affairs chaired by the Prime Minister himself, takes the final call on the increment in the MSP memo on the recommendation of Commission on Agriculture Cost and Price, CACP. Fine. Okay, what else important? Not anything important from this page. This is city page. So those, if there is something important to those joining from Delhi, you can have a look at it. Otherwise, other people can leave it. Here we have the states page, and on states more or less is politics. So no, and okay, all set for launch. RapidX offers high speed travel, modern amenities at affordable price. So Prime Minister is going to inaugurate this today. Somewhat can say the rapid RTRS system इसको हम बोल देते हैं short में RRTS, that is rapid transit system, after its inauguration by the Prime Minister Friday. Tomorrow it will be inaugurated by our Prime Minister. Fine, and this will covering the 17-kilometer stretch of the Delhi Meerut RRTS. Fine, and this is a RapidX, is high speed train है ये, begin services like a metro but high speed. Fine. Rapid, you can say RRTS, rapid this regional rapid transit system. रखना प्रीमियम लाउंज भी काफ़ी सारी आई मीन टेक्नोलॉजी जो लेटेस्ट है इसमें देखने को मिलेगी समवॉट यू सी कहीं ना कहीं जो कॉस्ट है एंड टू एंड ट्रेवल के लिए स्टूडेंट कोच विल कॉस्ट टोटल ऑफ 50 to 100 रुपीज़ द प्रीमियम कोच है सो ज़्यादा एंड स्पीड जो है इसकी 100 किलोमीटर के आसपास होगी प्लस अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस क्यूआर कोड बेस्ड पेपर टिकट्स ले सकते हो आप यूपी ऑल्सो नेशनल कॉमन मोबिलिटी कार्ड्स also can also be used charging your this okay so this all now important is articles are on editorial if, well here we have written by one of the most renowned M.K. Narayan Saab. He is a former director Intelligence Bureau IB, a former national security advisor and former governor of West Bengal. Fine. Plus he had been formerly executive chairman of, you can say, UK US based cybersecurity venture. So this article is all about, let me give you first of all the background. So it's all about the AI. In the past we have discussed a few of the articles related to the AI, but here the focus of the author today is on the the harmful impacts, the consequences AI, artificial intelligence, can have, and a step beyond that, he discussed about the AGI, that is artificial general intelligence, will overpower the human times. Right? So that's why has some different perspective here. So therefore, this explosion of digital uncertainty, and even it says the over dependence on such kind of AI, artificial intelligence. He relates this with the Israel and Hamas war ongoing conflict, that if Hamas was able to actually strike with this 5,000 of missiles over Israel on the 7th of October in the dawn, in the early morning. So therefore, it was somewhat a major failure of the intelligence, Israeli intelligence agents. This intelligence, specifically, this has happened because of the excessive dependence or the over dependence or the over reliance of Israel on the artificial intelligence kinds of things. Right. So this is of his article. The last paragraph is so so generative AI की हम बात कर चुके हैं, like we are using today the ChatGPT 4 and so generative is it can generate something for you like text, like images, like videos, like a number of things, right? Fine, can answer your queries, questions and so on. So recent advances in generative artificial intelligence have captured the imagination of public, businesses, government alike. The government of India has also very recently released a comprehensive report on the opportunities afforded by these current waves of AI. Leaders of the IT industry in India are almost certain that this wave of AI will lead to fundamental changes in the skills, landscape, and implicitly in terms of underlying threats and dangers. बिल्कुल ठीक बात है. हमारे कंट्री में भी कहीं ना कहीं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने रिसेंटली रिलीज्ड अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव रिपोर्ट ऑन द अपॉर्चुनिटीज अफोर्डेड बाय this current wave of AI. Alongside that, we also need to be very much aware of the underlying threats and dangers of the same. Fine. Okay. Scant understanding of the implications. He is saying कि कहीं ना कहीं जो हमारी understanding है about the implications, the negative, artificial intelligence or intelligence in short, therefore कहीं ना कहीं वो कम है हमारे को. So scant understanding. Concurrently, there is an exponential explosion of digital uncertainty. Few are able to fully comprehend the nature of new threat, the likes of which have not been witnessed in past decades or centuries. So few also realize the grave implications of what it means to have our lives and our economies run on what may be described as a fertile digital soil. बिल्कुल बात है, हमारी economies, हमारी lives, जैसे हम काफ़ी कुछ social media and all. So we are very much today influenced, or or our much of the, you can say, what life is influenced by the day-to-day activity on over the media. Fine. So this is what that such kind of dependence is somewhat going to harm us in the long term only. Fine. So these are the consequences we need to be mindful of, but we are not at this stage. So even fewer realize the kind of intrinsic problems that result from this. It is often repeated that digital infrastructure is built on a layers upon layers of omniscient machine. Omniscient everything. machine intelligence, human coded software abstractions, and undependable hardware components. Each of the layers interconnected connect through the complex and deeply embedded protocols. The narrow aperture of understanding of such aspect means that the vast majority of the people are ignorant of the implications. Of course, आप खुद भी देखो कि सोशल मीडिया आप यूज कर रहे हो, बट हाउ मेनी ऑफ अस आर अवेयर ऑफ द नेगेटिव फॉल आउट ऑफ दिस? क्या हमने कभी जाके उतनी दूर तक सोचा भी है कि कॉन्सिक्वेंस क्या होगा? वी आर वेरी मच fine. Ultimately, we awake when the things go out of our hand. So while cyber has no doubt attracted a measure of attention, there is a little or true understanding of the nature of today's cognitive warfare. Cognitive related to the intelligence, behavior, individual, let us say. तो cognitive warfare जो है उसकी कहीं ना कहीं हमें जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है और नेचर ऑफ टुडेज कॉग्निटिव वारफेयर है जो उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है वो कहीं कम है. Cognitive warfare truly ranks alongside other elements of modern warfare, such as domains of maritime, air, and space. Cognitive warfare puts a premium on sophisticated techniques that are aimed at destabilizing institutions, governments, and manipulation, among other aspects of the news media by powerful honest detectors, for example, misinformation, disinformation, all these things. So the end result क्या होगा? Could be a loss of trust apart from breaches of confidentiality and loss of governance capabilities. Even more dangerous is that it could alter a population behavior using sophisticated psychological techniques of manipulation. बिल्कुल ठीक बात है. अगर मशीन पे हम इतने डिपेंडेंट हो जाएंगे तो हो सकता है कि जो बिहेवियर है हमारी वो भी ऑल्टर हो जाए, क्योंकि उसको भी मशीन जो है वो ऑल्टर या फाइन. So given the maze of emerging technologies, both businesses and governments today confront an Armageddon of sorts. Armageddon क्या होता है? Armageddon is the last battle between the good and evil and bad. So the methods employed are highly insidious. For example, today, with almost a third of companies in the more advanced countries of the world investigating more intangible assets than physical one, they are putting themselves directly at risk from AI. Another estimate is that over 50% of this data is important. Market value of the top 500 companies sitting in intangibles. Intangible is something which, or this cannot see form. They too are deeply vulnerable as firms large and small spend billions of dollars to migrate to the cloud services we talk about today, like storing our files and all things for the cloud storage. Okay. And more sensors constantly send out sensitive information. The risk goes up in geometrical progression. बात है कि risk है over the time manifold बढ़ती जा रही है as we are spending billions of dollars over the cloud storage and more sensors being used. जैसे कि इजराइल की बात हमने की, बॉर्डर पे भी जो fencing थी that is highly high tech and worth of the with all sorts of modern. Still, Hamas was able to breach it, having such high-tech fencing. Hence, digital uncertainty is morphing into radical and uncertainty and rather rapidly. Today, government and government agencies are spending significant resources to undo the impact of misinformation. ठीक बात है कि governments across the world is spending a lot on cyber security threats, fine, especially on restricting this spread of misinformation. But this may not be enough. There is not enough understanding of how the very nature of the information is manipulated and the extent to which AI drives many of these transformations. So all this contributes to what can only be referred to as the truth decay. कहीं ना कहीं जो सत्य है, जो सही है, उसकी हमें ये देखने की manipulation for the time आ रहा है. The emergence of AGI, that is artificial general intelligence. Fine. Somewhat you can see, if AI is the grave threat that the world is currently contemplating, we are only with the tip of the iceberg, as growing numbers of people cognitively and psychologically become dependent on digital networks. AI is able to influence many critical aspects of the human functioning. So what is simultaneously exhilarating and terrorizing is the fact that many advances in AI are now being birthed by the machine itself, and sooner rather than later we will witness the emergence of artificial general intelligence, artificial intelligence that is equivalent or superior to human intelligence. This is a new, thing that we in the future, that is AGI. We call it artificial general intelligence. So far, we have been in generative AI, that is generative AI, where we generate text. For example, the way for ChatGPT is what? It's a generative AI tool. Great, further for you. For you're asking query, it answers. Want if you are giving it some topic, it you find so a number of things, right, from the text to images to videos and so this kind of AGI will penetrate whole new sectors and replace human judgments, intuitions and creativity. All of this going to manipulate. So the impending dawn of AGI is far more disruptive and dangerous than anything else that we have encountered thus far. There is a real fear that it could alter the very fabric of nation states and tear apart real and imagined communities across the globe. And even social and economic inequalities will rise exponentially, fine, and social anarchy will rule the streets as we see happening in some of the cities center. Fine. So ये सारे हमारे को negative fallouts जो हैं मिल सकते हैं related to the AGI. AGI will enable highly autonomous system that outperform humans in many areas, including economically, valuable work, education, welfare, and the like. So AGI जो है, which is either going to be to equal the human intelligence or even outstrip that human intelligence or be superior to this intelligence, is going to have, can say it is going to enable highly autonomous system that can outperform humans in many areas. Right? So AGI system will have the potential to be able to make decisions that are unpredictable and uncontrollable, which could have unintended consequences. Of course, if AGIs or this machine will, using algorithms and all allowed to their own, then of course we can have unpredictable, uncontrollable, decisions which could have unintended. Well, fine. So the world needs to be ready for this kind of things. So we can say that somewhat that AGI, that is artificial general intelligence, could prove to be as radical an innovation as game changer in the world of 21st century as industrial revolution was in the 18th century. It is almost certain to lead a material shift in the geopolitical balance of power and in a way never comprehended previously. The specter of digital colonization looms large with the AGI-based power centers based in locations, Western Asia based, led by US. So this is the issue. So we could possibly be at the cusp of an Oppenheimer moment. So Oppenheimer जो movie आई है आप लोगों ने देखा होगा. So who was Oppenheimer? He was basically a physicist, US based physicist, fine, and he is known as the father of atom bombs, fine. And Oppenheimer moment is something that humanity or the humans itself are responsible, or they are destroying their own world, right? When the world is at a crossroads in the science of computing, communicating, and engineering, and the ethics of power and potential we cannot fully comprehend, fine. So therefore, such things going to, today AGI seems to imitate forms of reasoning with the power to approximate the way humans think, and this is a new kind of arms race, but of a different kind, and it has just begun. It perhaps calls for more intimate collaboration between states, the technology sector, which is easier said than done. फाइन, बिल्कुल ठीक बात है कि अगर कुछ ऐसा है जो वर्ल्ड के लिए ठीक नहीं, कंट्रीज रेगुलेट करने की जरूरत है, इंटरनेशनल एंड उसके लिए होगा. द लास्ट पैराग्राफ दैट आई हैव डिस्कस्ड विद यू इनिशियली, दैट हमास इजराइल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, तो इसमें यही चीज एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं कि AI can be exploited and manipulated skillfully in certain situations, as was the case in the current Hamas-Israel conflict, sometimes referred to as the Yom Kippur War 2023. Yes, Kippur War last took place in the 1973. So this was the anniversary of that Yom Kippur War. Yom Kippur is the Jewish festival. Right? Israel's massive intelligence failure is attributed by some over intelligence of AI by it, which was skillfully exploited by the Hamas. देख सकते हो downfall of this. Hamas, some experts claim, was thus able to blindside Israeli intelligence and the Israel High Command. The lesson to be learned is that an over-dependence on artificial intelligence and a belief in its invincibility could prove to be as catastrophic as locking the gates after the force has bolted. Fine. So you can see that how he has related his article or included this Hamas-Israel conflict as the fallout of AI assumptions of the article. So a very good article, a very insightful one. Fine. Moving ahead, the AI sector or the artificial intelligence evolution is giving us or making us aware about the road that lies ahead, especially with the full of negative fallouts of the consequences. Second article is the BRI at 10 and some hits, many misses. Of course, 2013 is the year when it was announced or envisaged by the newly elected this president of China, that is Jinping साहब. And एक काफ़ी एक कहीं ना कहीं जो BRI Belt and Road Initiative 2013 लॉन्च की गई with a massive objective, and somewhat it was referred to as, you can say, as a signature initiative of the Xi Jinping. Fine. So currently the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation was concluded in Beijing, China on October 17th and 18th. Of course, you know that India has not joined it. Therefore, our representative wasn't there, fine, in the meeting. So rising China also felt the need to develop new transport and trade alternatives, since rivals could seize on the Strait of Malacca, the jugular of Chinese Strait of Malacca. Fine. So यहाँ पे map भी important है. Apart from this, you can see that somewhat this is what plus AIIB जो कि चाइना ने established किया था, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, with a $100 billion war chest, challenging other lending institutions across the world. So this was established as an alternative to, let us say, World Bank and so हमें इसमें ज़्यादा जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है related to, but हमारे लिए जो important है, that is somewhat this important figures and somewhat so China claim ये करता है कि आज के टाइम में क्या है कि की पिलर जो है इस BRI project, Belt and Road Initiative of the of the global, revealed that over 200 BRI cooperation pacts had been inked with over 150 nations. And the document also stated that total two-way investment with China and partner countries from 2013 to 2023. Fine. So therefore, but एक और reality है जो हमें ध्यान देने की जरूरत है. So according to the World Bank, 675 million means 5 crore जो लोग हैं, they are without electricity globally. Around 2.3 billion lakh potable water and 4.450 million means 45 crore people live beyond the coverage of broadband signal across the world. So the lending institution calculates that bridging the infrastructure gap will need capital infusion of somewhat $1.5 trillion annually through 2030, which is approximately 4.5% of middle income countries. So in इतनी investment in the upcoming times, आज से लेके 2030 तक $1.5 trillion every year, then only we can be able to all of this जो लोग विदाउट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी रह रहे हैं ग्लोबली, या जो जिनके पास पोर्टेबल वाटर की फैसिलिटी नहीं है, ब्रॉडबैंड सिग्नल नहीं है, उसको हम मीट कर पाएंगे. ठीक है. तो चाइना की जो इसको मार्शल प्लान भी लेबल किया गया, जैसे मार्शल प्लान सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर कंस्ट्रक्शन फॉर द वेस्टर्न नेशंस जो है मार्शल प्लान जो लॉन्च किया गया था. तो अकॉर्डिंगली चाइना के BRI प्रोजेक्ट को भी कहीं ना कहीं पैरेलली मार्शल प्लान रेफर किया गया. सो चाइनाज मार्शल प्लान मोड इंक्लूड्स ways, power plants, ports, railways, networks, all in built. बट अगली रियलिटी क्या है? हमने काफ़ी बार देखा कि चाइना जो है और डेट ट्रैप डिप्लोमेसी को प्रैक्टिस करता है विद द हेल्प ऑफ BRI एंड ऑल. तो अगली रियलिटी इसकी ये है कि चाइनीज प्रोजेक्ट की. सो सम वाज द फाइंडिंग डिटेल्स, एक स्टडी हुई है इंडोनेशिया की, वेयर थिंग्स हेड ओवर एंजाइटीज रिलेटेड टू चाइनीज लेबरर्स फिलिंग अप पोजीशंस मार्क्ड फॉर द लोकल्स. कि जो जैसे है तो उसको चाइना के हेल्प से ही किया, एंड ऑल भी जो प्रोजेक्ट्स बीआरआई रिलेटेड इंडोनेशिया में चल रहे हैं, तो वहाँ पे ये देखने को मिला है कि जो वहाँ के लोकल वर्कर्स थे, जो लोग, उनकी जगह पे चाइनीज लोग एम्प्लॉय। सो एक ये है, प्लस लाओस, थाईलैंड, कंबोडिया, वियतनाम, इन सब की बात करें, साउथ ईस्ट एशियन नेशंस, तो ये भी देखने को मिला है कि कहीं ना कहीं अराउंड यू कैन सी सम वॉट लाओस में इस वजह से जो बीआई रिलेटेड जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट करी है चाइना ने, तो लाओस ओज समवॉट चाइना अराउंड 12.2 बिलियन डॉलर्स, अबाउट 65% ऑफ, क्या कि इतना कर्जा जो है लाओस ओन करता है आज के टाइम में चाइना की। Apart from this, the CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, was conceived over the framework that ties between the two nations were deeper than the ocean, deeper than the honey, and higher than the Himalayas. Yet a Pakistani legislative report unearthed that while China cornered around 91% of Gwadar port's revenue, Pakistan pocketed just 9%. ये कि अपनी चाइना पाकिस्तान की अपनी रिपोर्ट है, फाइन। तो ये सारे आप फॉलोआउट्स देखने को मिल रहे हैं हमें। तो दिस इज द अगली रियलिटी ऑफ दिस बीआरआई प्रोजेक्ट। नाउ व्हाट आर द ग्लोबल अल्टरनेटिव्स टू दिस बीआरआई? So there are certain alternatives which have launched in the recent times. The first one was, of course, launched by the United States and Japan, initiated the United States and Japan infrastructure investment alternatives in the Indo-Pacific region. Then came the Joe Biden administration announced the Build Back Better World initiative that seems to have been reorganized as the Partnership for Global Investment, AIG, and PGII के अंडर पार्टनरशिप फॉर ग्लोबल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट, पीजीआईआई। इसी पीजीआईआई के अंडर आपकी जो है IMEC G20 समिट में इंडिया मिडल ईस्ट यूरोप इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर जो है वो लॉन्च की गई थी। ठीक है, so these are the some alternatives to the BRI. यहाँ पे mention भी है G20 Delhi Summit, IMEC, यही सारी चीजें mention। okay? So finally we can say in the in this, so IMEC, in addition to the trade, connectivity, electricity, digital infrastructure, as well as pipeline for clean hydrogen envisioned, it's too early to assess the alternatives, but all eyes will be on BRI as it completes a decade this year. At a time when Beijing is grappling with economic worries related to debt and unemployment, it remains to be how it will reinvigorate the project of the century, as has been labeled by the Chinese. Fine. So this is what about BRI. What idea opposes it into, because ये जो CPEC है बात की, चाइना पाकिस्तान कॉरिडोर, one of the projects of this BRI, it passes through pilots of identity and all part to this BRI project. Fine. So इस चीज का ध्यान रखो। The measure of the working women. So measure of the working women की बात करें, जैसा कि जब से इस बार का नोबेल प्राइज जो इकोनॉमिक्स में जो क्लाउडिया गोल्डिन जी को दिया गया है, तब से, क्योंकि पार्ट जो स्टडी है उनकी सारी विमेन रिलेटेड है, दैट इज इसीलिए नोबेल दिया गया है फॉर हर कंट्रीब्यूशन assessing the participation of working of women in the labor market, right, the labor force. तो इसी के डायरेक्शन में आजकल आर्टिकल्स आपको देखने को मिल जाते हैं, दैट इज द गुड, बिकॉज सोसाइटी में स्पेशल जस्टिस की जब बात करते हैं, वुमेन इज वन ऑफ द वेरी वेरी UPSC keep asking question related to women and therefore so somewhat अगर इंडिया में बात करें, इन इंडिया फैमिली स्ट्रक्चर्स हैव हिस्टोरिकली ऑफन filled this need with fathers working outside the home and mother providing child care and यही देखने को मिलता है हमारे यहाँ। However, this model is not conducive to India's growing ambitions. If the country is to grow into 5 trillion economy, women must be included. There are two specific ways to get here. Women's work, often care work, must be appropriately valued, and women must be adequately supported to participate in the economic activity outside the home. कि अगर इंडिया को 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बनना है, तो दो तरीकों से वुमेन की जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट है वो होनी चाहिए इसमें, पार्ट ऑफ दिस। एंड वो दो तरीकों से होता है कि वुमेन की जो भी वर्क है, केयर वर्क जो है काम होता है, तो उसको कहीं ना कहीं वैल्यूड करने की ज़रूरत है, वैल्यूएशन हो उसकी, एंड साथ में ही कहीं ना कहीं एक एडिक्वेट सपोर्ट की ज़रूरत है, दैट सो दैट दे कैन पार्टिसिपेट इन So all women work, but not all of them get paid. This is what economist Claudia Goldwyn, Nobel Prize 2023 winning work demonstrates in history. कि all women work, but not all of them get paid. ठीक बात है कि घर में तो काम करते हैं ना, तो but it's not like they are getting something paid for that work, right? Their work and so India's first national times use survey की अगर हम बात करें, which was released in 2020 by the National Statistics Office NSO, finds that 81.2% of all women are engaged in unpaid domestic services compared with 26.1 men. तो आपको ये डेटा बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे लिए, 2020 का है तो लेटेस्ट कह सकते हो आप, है ठीक है, आप कहीं कोट कर सकते हो. It finds that men spend around 42 hours on average on activities within the production boundary, that is what is traditionally counted as economic activity, whereas women spend 19 hours. ठीक है, तो प्रोडक्शन जब हम बात करते हैं इकोनॉमी के फील्ड में तो 42 आवर्स मेन वर्क करते हैं, 19 आवर्स women, तो कहीं ना कहीं हाफ है ये, लेस देन इवन हाफ. बट सम वॉट अगर आप यही इसी को आप दूसरे पर्सपेक्टिव से देखो कि लेवल पे देखो काम में हाउस होल्ड वर्क्स होते हैं, तो वहाँ पे उल्टा आपको देखने को मिलेगा फिगर, उनकी जो वुमेन की है ज़्यादा वर्क करते हैं. However, women spend 10 times more time on household, yes, maintenance and care for children, the sick and the elderly, 34.6 hours versus 3.6. You can see almost 10 times more they work, fine, in case of care work. So there are two implications for this. क्या implications हैं इसके? First is working women face the dreaded double burden, where working outside the home and contributing to a family income does not come with a commensurate reduction in responsibilities, and the care work that they do spend time on is not counted in the larger economic estimate. बिल्कुल ठीक बात है कि डबल बर्डन कैसे, एक तो ये कि जो बाहर काम कर रहे हैं, कमा रहे हैं, है ना, जॉब्स कर रहे हैं, तो उनकी चीज को कमेंसुरेट या कॉम्पनसेट नहीं किया जाता कि घर में उनको कम काम करना पड़े. नो, घर का भी काम करना है, बाहर का भी. एंड सेकंड थिंग ये कि जो घर का काम है उसको वैल्यू नहीं किया जाता, कहीं उसकी काउंटिंग नहीं होती, ठीक है, इवैल्यूएशन नहीं है, वैल्यूएशन नहीं है उसकी, कहीं ना कहीं दिस is known as double burden over women, leaving us with exhausted women with lower leisure hours in a week than their male counterparts. Women's unpaid work plays a vital role in the economy. It is responsible for 7.5% of GDP according to an SBI report. Again, this figure is very, very important, right? According to the SBI report. ठीक है, सो और भी कुछ चैलेंजेस है. गवर्नमेंट शुड चेंज द वे दे वैल्यू दिस लेबर, women labor. India can call for and lead the change in the internationally defined system of national accounts, ठीक है, जो कि यूनाइटेड नेशन अकाउंट, so that changes can be incorporated into everything from GDP calculation question. वर्किंग वुमेन की जो वर्क है उसको काउंट करने की जरूरत है. Women in India work 1.5 hours longer a day than men, mostly unpaid, often in unsanitary. 1.5 hours जो men ज़्यादा काम करते हैं men. Another facet क्या है कि there is another face to this picture, supporting women working outside the home. In low income families, single income households are often an impossibility. Both parents work simply. They have to. This means that model of breadwinner caregiver begins to break down. Okay? Low income women are income women are working without support for far more often than expected. This again is not reflected in the data because mortality in women's work patterns are seasonal, sporadic and irregular, and they often contribute to family business from home. Okay? So another study जो है reveal करती है कि approximately 44% of the women were part of the labor force and considering a period of 4 months, but only 2% of women were counted when considering an extended period of 4. Okay? So देख सकते हो सीजनैलिटी होती है, इरेगुलर होती है इनकी जॉब नेचर, इसलिए क्योंकि 44% ऑफ वुमेन को पार्ट माना गया लेबर फोर्स का व्हेन कंसीडरिंग अ पीरियड ऑफ जस्ट 4 मंथ्स. बट अगर आप 4 साल की बात करो तो जस्ट 2% लेबर फोर्स को मिली. तो कहीं ना कहीं कह सकते हैं कि डोमेस्टिक ऑब्लिगेशन जो है keep them from regular employment, fine. So at construction sites, Harvard researchers in 2013 described children playing in the shadow of dangerous equipment, high pollution, endangers their lives and health, most crucial. एंड डेवलपमेंट बात है। अब जैसे जो वर्किंग वुमेन है, स्पेशल लेबर क्लास है, तो ये जो बच्चे खेलते रहते हैं, ऑल ऑफ दिस इंक्लूडेड क्यों डेवलपमेंट के लिए। The government already runs world's largest public system for child services, remarkable Anganwadi system, which 80 million children of up to 6 years of age through 4 million centers. These centers function best in the rural settings where community members participate together. However, since they are only open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., women still need additional care options if they are to work a full 8 hours a day. बिल्कुल ठीक बात है कि उनके बच्चे सिर्फ 9 से 1, ठीक है, 4 घंटों के लिए, बट अगर 8 घंटे के लिए काम करना चाहें वुमेन तो बाकी 4 घंटे केयर वर्क कौन करेगा? तो इस पर भी ध्यान देने की जरूरत है। A fast urbanizing India needs different models to support its women. Creches offer one solution as of 2020. The national creche scheme operates nearly 500 creches across the country. Creches help mothers build stable careers as well as give children who would otherwise be exposed at work a safe, nurturing environment. So the private sector recognizes this need and provides services for high-income families. The child care or the preschool ecosystem, is an estimated at this much crore in so कहीं ना कहीं और expected CAGR, that is compound annual growth rate, जो हमें देखने को मिली हुई क्रेच फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड करने की जरूरत है ताकि कि जो भी वर्किंग केयर वर्क फॉर्मेटिव जा सके। So today you see the women's labor force participation rate in India is 32.8% according to government sources and 24% according to the World Bank. Compared to China 60%, Bangladesh 38%, Nepal 29%, and Pakistan 25%. So if India wants to raise the female labor force participation rate to empower its women, myths around women's work must be dispelled and women's work must both be counted appropriately and supported fairly. बात है, देख सकते हो हमारे नेबरिंग जो कंट्री उनके मुकाबले चाइना में 61% जो है लेबर फोर्स की, बट हमारे यहाँ हाईएस्ट 32.8% अकॉर्डिंग टू गवर्नमेंट डेटा, बट वर्ल्ड बैंक के डेटा के अकॉर्डिंग सो कहीं ना कहीं 30% चाइना में ऑलमोस्ट डबल है। तो ठीक से वुमेन्स वर्क जो है हम चाहते हैं अगर, तो मिथ अराउंड वुमेन्स वर्क है वुमेन्स की जो वर्क है दिस काउंटेड appropriately and a very good piece of article. नेक्स्ट ऑन टेक्स्ट एंड कॉन्टेक्स्ट पेज, तो एक रेफरेंडम कराने की बात चल रही है इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया अबाउट द एबोरिजिनल रेफरेंडम ऑस्ट्रेलिया। एबोरिजिनल मीन्स जो ओरिजिनल पॉपुलेशन, जो नेटिव लोग हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया के, उनके बीच में यू कैन सी समवॉट एक लोकल लेवल पे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में बहुत ज़्यादा हमारे लिए इसमें कुछ खास नहीं है। रेफरेंडम क्या होता है? सो रेफरेंडम इज जनरली कुछ ऐसे मुद्दे होते हैं, जैसे हमने वो भी देखा था ब्रेक्जिट, तो उसमें तो इस तरह से हमें देखने को क्या रिजल्ट आता है। राय पूछी जाती है जनता की कि so Australians were asked to vote on whether to establish an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice to Parliament. The voice was proposed as a Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people, the first people in Australia in the Constitution. Voting is compulsory. Every eligible Australian citizen over 18 years of age is obliged to vote in elections and referendums. Voting is compulsory in Australia, not in India. So it's very difficult to achieve constitution in Australia. Since federation in 1901, 45 questions have been put to Australian voters in referendums. Only 8 of those have succeeded. Right? तो जो लगता है कि हाँ ये जो रेफरेंडम है वो अगेंस्ट ही जाएगी। फाइनल रिजल्ट्स लाइकली टू बी अबाउट 40% वोट यस एंड नो। ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो है उसमें जो मान्यता देने की बात हो रही है कि जो एबोरिजिनल्स हैं, टॉरेस स्ट्रेट आइलैंडर वॉइस टू पार्लियामेंट की एक रिकग्निशन दी है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में पहले, फर्स्ट एज दे आर द फर्स्ट पीपल्स ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया। ओके, वो रियल सिटीजन। What else important? Let us the facts and figures. So here we have just politics. Prime Minister has expressed shock over explosion in Gaza. It Therefore is responsible for before the law. Center has finally notified the appointment of 17 judges across 8 high courts. Okay, ये देख सकते हो. Important. India will explore building large language models, LLMs, artificial intelligence की बात कर. Large language, work on the rhythms. High-powered committee for the same has been created. Study the development for Indian language. Large amounts of private and foreign capital plus G20 Sherpa, G20 Sherpa, Amitabh Kant, IAS officer, IAS officer. तो यूएस इंडिया की कोलैबोरेशन भी इस डायरेक्शन में ध्यान रखना. पहले भी हम डीप टेक है क्या? डीप टेक इज अ बज़वर्ड इन टेक एंड स्टार्टअप सर्कल्स. इंडिया's draft policy documents on deep tech sites startup India's database claims that there are 10,298 startups recognized by the Department of Industry and International Trade which are spread across large deep places. Okay, so we are the second largest startup hubs, or you can say post USA. One पे है India likely to sign deal with the US for 31 MQ-9B drones by February 2024. Fine, ध्यान रखना. Ayodhya Ram Temple Trust receives FCRA license to accept foreign donations. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Foreign donations Ayodhya Ram Temple receive कर सकते. World page. Here we have Europe condemns death of hundreds of civilians in attack on Gaza. Israel to allow aid to move into Gaza from Egypt. What said by US. Escalating tensions in Gaza come under sharp focus. Civil war cleared Sri Lanka. पहले भी देखा था ये. Center raises MSP for Rabi crops. Farmers unhappy. Farmers organization says the minimum support prices do not match the increase in cost. For wheat, the major Rabi crop increase is 150 rupees per quintal. More, farmers organization have criticized the increase as a meager. They point to mismatch between the support price and the cost. They highlight the increase in the diesel and fertilizer prices. Farmer representatives also lament lack of government participation in action after MSP announced. Highest increase in MSP compared with the last year is for lentil. This masood 4 to 5 per quintal. What is important? Coal India Limited to lift more coal from below ground, and how quantum algorithms solve problems that classical computers can't. तो क्वांटम कंप्यूटर्स की आजकल हम बात कर रहे हैं. पहले भी हमने एक जो आर्टिकल है इसे रिलेटेड डिस्कस कर रेडी. तो क्वांटम एल्गोरिथम इज अ सीरीज ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन दैट यूजेस क्वांटम बिट्स, क्यूबिट्स, जिसको हम बोलते हैं क्वांटम गेट्स टू मैनिपुलेट डेटा some problems may need fewer steps on the part of a quantum algorithm than the steps required for classical algorithms, enabling quantum computer to solve the problems faster than the classical devices. कहीं ना कहीं जो steps हैं, fewer steps की requirement होगी हमें quantum computer, because quantum computers qubits पे work करते हैं, unlike classical computers binary 0 and 1. So ये जो चीज़ें हैं ये कहीं ना कहीं जो है प्रोसेस को कहीं ना कहीं easy करेगी, एंड इस वजह से हमें क्वांटम वर्सेस क्लासिकल एल्गोरिदम्स की बात करेंगे अगर हम, तो मोर इन्वॉल्व एग्जांपल ऑफ एल्गोरिदम इज द सर्च फॉर द लार्जेस्ट नंबर इन अ finite list of numbers. Fine. So quantum algorithm is also a series of steps, but its implementation requires quantum gates. Some problems may need fewer steps on the part of quantum algorithms in the number of steps required by classical algorithm. That is, the quantum algorithm can speed up the computation. Monish. ठीक है, सो दिस इज हाउ कि इनकी रिक्वायरमेंट कम है क्वांटम कंप्यूटर्स की, इसलिए जो प्रोसेस है वो फास्ट हमें देखने को मिल सकता है. बट वेट फॉर रिलायबल डिवाइसेस, अभी ये एवोल्यूशनरी फेज में है, तो अभी हमें वेट करने की जरूरत पड़ेगी. ओके फाइन, हैव अ दिस गेट इट, बिकॉज जस्ट गो थ्रू करना है और कुछ में है. Important. So that's it as far as today's Hindu analysis is concerned. If you have any query, anything, you can keep revising for analysis.